Hello and welcome back to my channel. Hope you're enjoying yourself. In case you didn't know, it's holiday season. So I'm very busy around this time of year. It's stressing me out. So I thought, wouldn't it be nice if I could just sit down, sketch, and it'll all be fine? Because I haven't been able to do this for a while because I've been busy with like holiday preparations and stuff. Haven't really had time to just sketch. So if I make it a YouTube video, I get to sketch, but also I get a video for this week. There's still a lot that I've been meaning to experiment with this sketchbook. I have had it for a while now, but since I haven't been as active in it, I haven't really been able to test out as many things as I wanted it to. So today I wanted to see how Gouache can handle this. No, the other one. How the sketchbook can handle Gouache. I'm recording this just after I woke up. Yes, I have my coffee here. Feel free to grab yourself a nice, warm, cozy drink and we can just sketch together. And it'll be neat. I don't think the drawing itself needs to be anything spectacular, but I'd still like to get some thumbnails in. See what we can do. I do want to draw something wintry, which is why I have these blue colories. I almost called them markers. They're pencils. I'm such a good artist that knows exactly what these supplies are. I think if I were to narrow it down to a bust shot, that can make things a little bit easier, since I'm also not that experienced with gouache, and also I have no idea how it's gonna react to this paper. This paper is the Crescent render paper. I don't know who I'm drawing. It might just be a random person. Okay, we have an idea. Don't know if I want to go with that though. Hey, I have a warm drink. Let's draw someone with a warm drink. I think that could be a more fun thing to do than just have a person standing there doing nothing, which is what most of my art is. I think instead of doing like full winter getup, because like right here there is a scarf, I think I should go more with like a winter wardrobe instead of like I'm about to go trek the Antarctic. So let's do that. I don't know what this person is drinking. Could be coffee, could be hot cocoa. I used to never be a coffee person, and then like the moment I turned 18, it's like you're becoming an adult, you must live off of caffeine every day. So that's why I've been drinking coffee every single day. I don't think anyone cared. Is this what it means to be an adult? The most interesting stories you have is why you now drink coffee every day. Adulthood is looking great. Yeah, I like this idea a lot, and I really like this sort of expression. I don't know what it is about this, I don't know, just, I like it. Let me try sketching out another idea, but I want to keep it similar to that. Whenever I'm making thumbnails, I'm always like worried when I get one that I like to make the other one, and I don't know why, because if I don't like the next one, I don't need to use it. It's just a thumbnail. But there's always just that feeling of like, this next one isn't gonna be as good, so why even draw it? But you don't know that. And like, even if that's a huge cup, it's fine. Even if it isn't as nice, like it is fine, but it's still worth a try. See, I'm hating this one. Okay, I'm going to make this same thing here, but try and add like small differences. What if I tilted the mug more towards like her face, so it's kind of like she just took a drink of it? I do like the short messy hair, so I kind of want to go with that. It's reminding me of my character Aspen. I got a comment on one of my Instagram posts saying that Aspen is feral, which is accurate, and now I can't stop thinking that. Every time I even mention her in a conversation, I just want to say that she's feral. I actually like this one better. See? Thumbnails are important. Even though these two are almost the same thing, they're not the same thing, and that's what matters. I don't know how detailed I want to go with this final sketch. Gouache is pretty opaque generally, so I don't want to just draw details that are going to be covered up. Try and keep the face kind of at a downward angle. I think that head's too big. Gosh darn it. I think that's better. I think it's too much of a downward angle. Drawing too much of the head. I should draw the rest of the body, or at least what we see of the body. I really like the arms being pushed inwards. I think that makes her look awkward, like she wasn't quite ready for this picture. Heck yeah. I have a love-hate relationship with Colorase pencils. I almost called them markers again. I'm such a good artist that knows exactly what these supplies are. Because they don't actually erase very well, but also sometimes that's a good thing. Like right now, the way that I'm using the eraser, normally it would erase I almost called it a marker again. I'm such a good artist that knows exactly what these supplies are. Like the way that I'm using this eraser now, that would normally erase the pencil completely, but here it doesn't, which is good because I need it to be still visible, but in other times it's not good. Whenever I'm filming, I never know when I want to zoom in or if I want to zoom in. Look there, she's wearing some emo eyeliner. It's fine. We've all been there, right? Not super happy with those eyes, but I guess they're fine for now. I don't know if that's placed right. I'll come back for that. I think I'm okay with the eyes since they're kind of hidden. That's better, I think. It's a very slight change, but that's the weird thing about art. Move your line 2 centimeters and it can look either so much better or so much worse than it did before. When I hold my coffee mug, that's the wrong end. When I hold my coffee mug, I usually hold it with my top 2 fingers in the loop and my bottom fingers out, but that looks weird. I don't know, man. Let's just figure it out. And that sounded like I was more stressed than I intended. And like, I am stressed, but I want it to seem like I was stressed. Pinky out. What kind of mug should I give her? I don't know why I'm asking, like someone's gonna answer me. I'm alone. Yo, so I'm sure many of you can assume I've been playing a lot of Pokemon Sword and Shield. I haven't been playing it as much in the past like couple of days because I've been getting ready for holidays and stuff and trying to get these videos ready. But when it first came out, I worked overtime so I can have time to play it. And the reason I bring it up, so for those of you who don't know Pokemon, sometimes they base Pokemon off of some strange things. One of which in these games being a teacup. And I love it. It's pretty great. But the other reason I bring it up is because there's counterfeit Pokemon in the game. And I don't know if my fellow Pokemon fans out there knew about that, but when I found out about it, I cackled. That is hilarious that they would even do that. So like the teacup Pokemon, it's a ghost. It's a possessed teacup. It's perfect. Sometimes it's a counterfeit one because underneath here, like around here, there's like a seal or whatever, like a logo thing. But sometimes it's like most of the time actually, it's not there. So if your Sinistea or Poltegeist does not have that seal, then it's a counterfeit Pokemon. I think these fingers need to be curled a little bit more because since a mug is a round object, that's a little necessary. There we go. I think that's a little bit better now. It looks more like she's actually wrapping her hand around something. This is a very interesting choice of outfit that this person made. I didn't think about the pants situation, so she's just gonna be a floating torso. And boom, it's a mug. Lighten this up. So before I paint, I do want to throw some paint on this just to get a color scheme in mind. I lost one of my acrylic brushes, so we're just gonna be working with this guy. It's a sad story, I know. I have no idea how this is gonna go. Because this paper is thick and smooth. And I know for watercolors, you want a more textured paper. But for other paints, I have no idea, and gouache is like not quite watercolor, so. So in case you're wondering what gouache I'm using, it's this, because they're cheap, and I'm not good enough at gouache to go out and buy the expensive gouache. These are Reeves, which are pretty nice cheap ones. Yeah, I pictured her having orange hair. I think the gouache will be fine when it's pretty opaque, but I'm worried about what it's gonna be like on this paper once I water it down because I'm definitely gonna have to do that for some of these colors. And while I haven't tested it out myself, I have heard that more wet mediums don't always go well on this paper. I do like the orange hair, but I want to lighten it up, and then I'll try blue instead of green. Oh, I think this is a much better shade. You can't see it. I wonder if I should go darker. I think this would be fine, making the hat this color, if I made the brim and the poofies a lighter color. No, I don't like this color. What if I added a little bit of purple? If I sound weird, it's because my paintbrushes are in my mouth. The most efficient way to hold a paintbrush, I do say so myself. Just paint on top of it, why not? No, I'm worried if that's like too much blue. I think it would be fine if I add something else to it. She has the bows on her sweater, so if I make those a different color and then add that color somewhere else on the sweater, like on the cuffs of the sleeves or the collar or something. Oh, I think I got an idea. What if I change it from a turtleneck to more of like a collar? I think the idea is there. I don't think yellow was the right choice, but I do think I need to do something like that. Just paint a blob that vaguely looks like a shirt. I don't think I want to make it a lighter or a darker blue, but I don't know what else I could do to make it in this color scheme. What if I made it kind of like a very light tan color? Because I want it to fit the color scheme, but I don't want the colors to get too crazy at the same time. I think that's what I need to do. Okay, let's actually... I just put my hand in the paint. Painting is hard when you're not a patient person. It's an interesting shirt. Time to paint and hopefully not mess it up. Let's start with the hat, which I think was just this color that I already have mixed right here. Painting on this isn't the worst thing in the world, but you can definitely tell that this paper was not made with the intention of being painted on. Should have taken a picture of this before I started painting. Well, I should have started on the left because I'm right-handed. So now when I paint the left, my hand's gonna be in the paint. This was not a smart choice of mine. One thing that I've heard from painters a lot is that it's better to overmix than to undermix because then you won't run out of the same color and then your colors will be even throughout the thing. And I get that, but also there's that part of me that's cheap and doesn't want to waste paint. And also with gouache, like gouache is a water activated paint, so you can always reactivate your gouache paints later, which is nice and something I appreciate. But with like acrylic and stuff, it's always a little bit more stressful. I want to make a portable gouache palette because I think if I have them in a palette, I'll be inclined to use my gouache more. Because I use my watercolors fairly often, and I have like 2 little palettes of them, and I don't ever really use my watercolors that are in a tube. Can't remember how I mixed that color. I think a little bit more white. Also, life hack, I don't have an eyedropper to get water out, so I use the end of one of my like travel watercolor brushes, like the ones with the water on the inside. When it's more watered down, it gets a kind of weird texture. I think the thing with gouache that I've really yet to get a grasp of is the difference between the colors when they're wet versus when they're dry. She ended up looking more angry than I anticipated. I think the hat I want to keep just blue. I feel like that would make more sense for the hat. Basically just the gray, but it works. Yeah, I think gouache works better in this sketchbook when it's more like this, where it's mostly gouache with just a little bit of water, or just straight up the gouache paints. When it's more watered out like this, there's a really weird, like, I'm not sure if you, it's fine. It happens. I'm not sure if the camera's picking that up, but there's like a, kind of like a fuzzy texture. I don't really know how to describe it. So like for the hat, I think it works out pretty nice, but for the hair, not so much. And for the skin, it's gonna be awful. So for the shirt details, I think going mostly white, and then my paint water is pretty orange. Let's just add some paint water fine. This is what I'm making this though. I have no idea what I'm gonna make the skin tone. If I make it more on the pink side, it should be fine, right? I haven't actually decided what I want to do in terms of line art. Honestly, I think I want to keep it pretty minimal because I like the way that the hat's coming out. So how should I shade this hair? A burnt sienna and a burnt umber, so I think one of those or both of those could be a good option. Let's start with burnt sienna. Pretty big contrast to the hair color, so I don't want to get too crazy with it. I feel like I still haven't found my art style in gouache. That's too bright. It's fine. It never even happened, except it did. And it's on camera. I don't know how I did the hat so well and doing so awful with the hair. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take a step back from the hair for now, because I think it needs to dry before I can do anything else. I think adding purple for the shading in the dark shirt. That was not a sentence. Let me try. Okay. That sentence was a wreck, and then the sentence of me saying that sentence was a wreck was a wreck. Someone should teach me how to speak. Camera's running out of battery. Is it break time already? I should go let that charge. I may or may not work on it a little bit off camera. I don't know, but if I do, I'll let you know what's different when I come back. Okay, I'm back. It's actually a few days later because I'm apparently incapable of filming a sketch vlog in the same day, like ever. Off camera, I believe I just worked a little bit on this and maybe a little bit on the hat. I didn't do too much, so it should look pretty much the same. How about I actually paint her skin now? I think that would be a good thing if she had skin. Add a lot of this and then a little bit of red. Let's see where that takes us. I also want her to be kind of pale because I'm worried about it blending in with her hair, but also we can't make it too pale, otherwise it's gonna blend in with this part, so this is gonna be a challenge. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be using watercolors in this at all. Gouache, like I was saying, it's fine if you don't water it down, but clearly when you water it down, it gets pretty ugly. I don't know what I can do to save this skin. Might just have to wait for that to dry. Well then. That did not go as... She's having a little bit of a rough time. It's definitely going down very, very patchy, because the way that I put that down is the same way that I'll put it down on different papers, and it looks so much nicer, so... Let's use this burnt sienna for her eyes, why not? Whoops! Not sure if you just saw what happened, but we're gonna pretend like nothing happened. Oh wait, I still left the blob. We're gonna pretend like nothing happened. I still haven't 100% decided what I'm gonna do in terms of line art. I did bring out this thin white Posca pen to use as white highlights. And then I have a thin peach and a thin black for Posca. So I might use some of those, and then I might just try and use gouache for a little bit of line art. The problem with that though is that I think my brush is a little bit too thick for that, because when I paint, I generally like to keep the line art pretty minimal and pretty thin. So I don't know, we'll have to see about that. I'm a little worried about adding the blush because it does not water down well. So I think I'm gonna do this. Just add like a little dots of red and then maybe blend it out with water. So when I was blending it out in the hair, it seemed to be fine, but maybe that's because there's paint underneath. I think for shading the skin, I'll mix this purple in with this red and then add that to the skin tone. What color did I make the mug? I think I made it blue, like the same blue as the hat. I feel like that blends in with the shirt a little too much. Another thing I noticed when you paint with more wet paint, it soaks into the paper so much quicker. Like, you know how normally when you're painting on something, like if you're painting on watercolor paper or whatever, you'll put the paint down, and then since it's still wet, you can like push it around. Yeah, when I was painting this, it started soaking into the paper so much, but it's like, it's still wet, so I can't add layers on top of it, but it's too dry for me to be able to mess with it, you know? And not a fan of that. Probably be real dark up here since it's pretty concealed from her hat and her hair. Okay, and now for the hair, maybe add some purple to that too. There's purple and shading to everything else, so I feel like I have to add some to the hair, even just a little bit, to make it a little bit more cohesive. Blend this part out. I feel like I've improved with gouache a lot recently, but then also I'm painting on this paper. So I feel like all of that is just going out the window. It's important to know what supplies to use with what, because if this was like my first sketchbook and I was painting on this, I would think that like I'm just awful at paints and I can never improve with gouache because the paper sucks for it. So it definitely helps to have quality materials. You don't need to have the most expensive, groundbreaking, incredible materials, but make sure that your materials go nice together, because I am not having a good time painting this, at least with the more watered out colors. I think for this I want to shade it with a little bit more green before I add more purple, because I do want to add that purple to make it cohesive, but I don't want it to blend in with the shirt too much. Just have to finish shading the shirt and the mug, and then some highlights, and then some sort of line art. Yeah, this is fine. I'm not putting in a whole lot of effort in the skin anyway. I kind of gave up on it. Will this work as a highlight for the mug? Not really. Okay, I think that's about all I can do in terms of painting. So I guess I'll let this dry and do some liner. I don't know. This was a weird experience. Okay, so I picked out these two purpley-ish Tombow brush markers. I'm such a good artist. So yeah, my general consensus is don't use this sketchbook for paints. This was Posca, and then I've got some black paint in here somewhere, and that's acrylic paint. It seems to handle those well, but for more water-based paints like watercolor, or if you're watering down your gouache, it really doesn't work well. It's okay though. This was a nice learning experience. Those eyes ended up being thicker than I planned, but it's fine. I also kind of gave up on shading this part, but it's okay. Add the little blushies. Yeah, it's a little bit of a shame that gouache doesn't work super great in this sketchbook, because I'd really like to be able to practice gouache more. Oh well, there will be other sketchbooks. I don't think there's too much line art I want to add. Final touches with this white Posca. I think this one's dying, so let's hope I can actually make it through this. Get some little fluffy bits. Add some shine to the mug. Just add them wherever I think it needs. I think we can call this a drawing, maybe. There we go. Here's the finished thing. I like it. I mean, like I was saying, the paper is not great for this paint, but I think given the knowledge I have of gouache and this shitty paper in terms of painting on, I think I did pretty nice. I really like it, given the circumstances. If I had known how the gouache would have reacted on this paper, I would have taken a different approach. But this was a wonderful learning experience. That's all I wanted this to be, was to get to know this sketchbook a little bit more. So I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you got to know your sketchbook a little bit better while you were drawing. Let me know if you were experimenting with anything new, because I'm pretty sure you were drawing. I know your life. Thank you so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and if you're looking forward to more art from me. And if you're new here, consider subscribing because I post a new video every single week, and it's a lot of fun over here. We make a lot of art, so if that's something you're interested in, subscribe. And you can also follow me on any of my social media if you're interested in. That will be on screen now and in the description box below. And also on the screen now is a video for you to check out. And also in the iCard. Go do that if you want, that'd be awesome. As always, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you next week. Bye.